Ladies and gentlemen, followers and unfollowers, and welcome to Gustav Making Stuff. Today, we are going to do a request that was placed like 2 weeks ago, but it was a great request, so, well, let's do it. The Radium Rifle from Fallout 4, Far Harbor expansion. So let's get going. Sorry about that, it's DLC nowadays. I feel old for that. Anyway, so now we're going to draw this off the screen here. And I have blew it up here with the size that fits my hand. Because I couldn't find it. This is actually based on a real gun, which has some long German name, which I can't really pronounce and also forgot to look up at this moment. I'm sitting and recording this. Anyway, so now we're going to cut this whole thing out from this paper there and then go out and take the saw and cut it out. And also this front handle guard things, which I then recently had to do replace because they were too thick. You will see it later. And you see, now we have this plastic sheets here. This is from a plastic TV cover thing from IKEA. Any plastic stuff will do, or metal. And now we're going to take this toy from a lightsaber, which happens to look exactly like the part I'm looking for. If you don't have this part, you can probably replicate it by taking some foam pieces. Anyway, so now we're going to take a 40mm tube here and cut that sides off, because it's kind of a stamped metal piece, but stamping metal, it's a little bit difficult to do. That's why we don't do it anymore most of the time. Anyway, so there we see. Now I'm going to put this 40mm there. And now we're going to see. This will be attached like that on the 30mm tube. And now you see the parts will be fitting right in front of there. But I had to replace them. Anyway, so now you see how they will be. And we also fill up in the gap there. Cut out somewhere. Now this 40mm will be cut in a line like that. This is a very, a little bit tricky due to you will get stuff lined up. Anyway, so now you see, now we're going to drill a hole that is going to be covered up with stuff that is on top of it. So we can drill this thing, or screw it into the wood. You see, like that, in front of that thing. That will be, and also in the back. And now I took 2 pieces of the 40mm tube there, and putting it like that, so it doesn't will bend down in an odd angle. And then do it again, and then put a screw in it. So, now when we have done that, now we're going to carve the stock here. And you just have to like round it off. And look how the stock will look. And also try to do this in the line with the grain. This might be a lost art by today, that how to cut in wood. But I'm sure you can do this very nicely. Like that. And now we're going to take some 80 grained sandpaper here to file this off, and then I'm going to go over this with 100, so it will be very nice and flat and, you know, cozy to hold on to. I'm not going to sound like a gun crazy American, but yes, it's cozy to hold on a nice carved gun you've done yourself. Anyways, now let's glue these things here with wood glue and let them dry overnight. And also take away all the little squeezed out wood glue there. Now we are going to do some kind of mechanism parts, that is. And also we are going to make these little things that is put on top of this, because it has radium in this rifle, so you need to have some bullshit technology on it. And you have the different options of parts there that is readily available. So now do some little hole here that their things will be attached to, and then we drill. Oh yes, we're going to drill from the British Oil Company, indeed. Anyway, so now you see it will be like that. But to make the little nails that will push through from the inside fit into it, we will fill this up with crappy glue. I have 2 glue, one good and one crappy one. So I take the crappy one. The good one is actually attached to plastic easier. Anyway, so now let's shape it in the front there. So it will look like it's supposed to. like a Radium Rifle based on a long German difficult name gun. So now we're gonna take this little thicker foam here and draw out a little template here for the magazine. This process can also be much easier if you actually buy like an airsoft version of this gun. Anyway, so now you see there is the magazine gonna be, and now this is gonna be a little bit of a jump in time here because I worked on this in a, well, let's say not a very logical way. But you see, this is how it's going to be, like that, but we're going to glue it there later. Now we're going to have some plastic strips here, so it looks like stamped German metal from the Second World War era, like that. And now we're going to do the trigger guard here with this nail strip here, and it's a bit thick, which is kind of an interesting thing because lots of they have big triggers in Fallout 4, so the hands from the power armors can fit there. Also, we're gonna drill a little hole here to put a trigger in, a little bit of a stunt trigger because it doesn't gonna be any use for it due to this is a prop. For all of you who are complaining that these guns doesn't work that I make, they are props. Stop writing that. It's in the title usually. Oh, I forgot something. Anyway, so now let's put some duct tape on this trigger guard here, so it will look nice and almost metallic-y. Because there's still the material I'm looking for doing triggers very well. You will see it when I find it. It's a very clever way, but we will see this with this DIY trigger thing. Anyway, so now we're going to put a little bit of a foam around here to make it look like the game. In the game. Anyway, let's wrap this around this fancy orange color, and then I have some plastic round stuff that I will glue on like that, because it looks like that in the game for radium reasons. Anyway, so now we are going to glue a little bit of a glue stick back here because it has some kind of part that might look like a tube. So let's take a glue stick there. And also doing the little bottom thing there. Also a fancy orange color. And now we're going to paint the whole thing black and let it dry. So we will do magic with it later with paint from Paintland. If that's an actual magical place. Anyway, now let's glue this little thing in front there that we will attach the sling. It will not hold for a sling, but whatever. Now we are going to do a little bit of ejection port here. Also because the real version of this gun is a little bit weird due to it's pushing the bullet very, very long way forward. It worked back then. It still works now, I think. Anyway, guns are evolving. Soon they will have legs and attack us. Anyway, so now we're going to cut that off and clean it up so we have this hole here. We are later going to cover that up in a very clever way. But first, let's make the hole. Fantastic, isn't it? Now we're going to take this little thing that shoots confetti and going to put that inside of a tube, which was a little bit difficult to film, but you see, like that, we have tubes inside it, so it will be centered. And now we're going to put another tube inside it to make the front barrel thingy. Yes, this also has this weird umbrella thing around it, which I choose to not build, because I don't have it in the game, because I think it obstructs the vision to see what you're shooting. Anyways, now we're gonna take the little blade casing for this box cutter blades, and we are going to drill that and put it inside there to have this as an eyesight, because eyesights are good if you're going to aim at things. And just put a little screw like that. Now we are going to take this part that I showed before there, and we are going to put some little screws in them to make them sit there. I don't really know exactly what this do. I think the lower one is like the magazine release, so it should be like more like a button. And now we are going to start painting this thing and go by spraying everything black in the paint booth. So I will just mask off all the wooden parts. And now we have this silver tube here. I have cut a slice in it, you see, and because it's not so it will fit, and take this smaller tube here and then push it from the inside so it will cover that thing up. Anyway, so now let's peel this off and remove it. And oh look, it's nice. Some people like to watch videos of peeling stuff. This is not the right channel for that. Anyway, so now let's make everything brown here. You could use wood oil, but I don't have one. But I have massive amounts of brown paint. And I mean massive amounts of it. Several liters, or maybe 5 gallons of it if it's American, whatever. It's like 2 very, very, very big buckets. I obtained them because they sold it cheaper because they had mixed wrong colors. Anyway, so now I have this little bit of a steel roof which I have bent into that shape. And now we're going to take the metal cutter there and cut it off like that. And bend it in a very specific way. Because I cocked it up a bit, so I had to reshape it later on, which you will see. Anyway, so now you see we have drilled a little hole there. And now we're going to take a little screw to attach them in the middle there. And now we're going to take another and drill to pick the small screw there. I do actually had a lot of random screws lying around, so all these screws are mashing, which add to the little bit of DIY feel of it. You see, here I have this highly technological hammer, and I smash this so it will fold into itself to look more like it does in the game. And now I'm going to put up some more screws and some bullshit technology. So I'm just gonna mark everywhere I'm going to put a little hole. So we can insert a little bit of a resistors and stuff like that. So I had these resistors which I have from an old broken radio, which I have now put up and removed. And now we're gonna have this part, which I don't really know what it does. But it looks like that, and apparently it is on the real gun also, so it has some kind of function. Anyway, so now you see there I have made a little circuit board there, and now we're going to attach the little wires and stuff like that, which would actually be around on this gun, because apparently you need a lot of ships and stuff to use guns to infuse radium into it. And now I'm going to drill a little hole here in the side. Some people complained that I'm drilling into my leg, and yes, I should absolutely not stop doing that. And now you see I'm going to do that, and have this is stove polish, which your wooden stove, you are polishing that to make it look nice. So you can also polish black paint with it, so it looks more metalish, which we will see here. One has it and one has not it, and you see they have this very lovely metal shine to it, would not be too obviously silver paint. So now we are going to take a staple gun, which I have run out of staples, so I have to use these things instead, which is like a, well, let's say older version of staples. They're called malor in Sweden, so I have no idea what they call in English. Anyway, so now it's going to just put some glue into the magazine there and just push it in there, so it will be permanently stuck there. Because I have no plans to actually build more magazines for this. Anyway, now we have a little push trigger there, which I had lying around, and now use some black electrical tape to it to put the wires there. And now we're going to also attach the trigger. You can use normal nails, but I used this malor instead. Why? It was a really stupid idea, so I did it anyway. Now, let's have these little metal rings here to drill a hole and screw them inside there, and then put the little bit of wires inside it, because it have wires there for some reason. This guns doesn't make any sense, but it looks cool, and that's the important things. So now we are finished with it, and I say it turned out really, really lovely, even though I could make it more dirty. But, well, I probably will do that later on in some case. But do you know how to make a radium rifle? It was a very fun build. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you. Goodbye. Bye.